we are proud to take a stand today in public in opposition to the protocol. Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you. Thanks to the organisers for having me, and what a brilliant crowd. But I should have known better whenever I came down to Loyal Portadown. I should have known what to expect really from this town in particular. We're gathered here today to obviously oppose the NI protocol. And sometimes I find myself wondering, what exactly is it we're opposing? You know it's wrong, it feels against your gut instinct, but if someone came to you and said, what exactly are you here today to oppose? Some of us would maybe find it a wee bit hard to articulate exactly what we think. So first of all, it's a customs border. It affects everyone here, regardless of religion, regardless in your belief of where Northern Ireland should sit. It's cutting us off from our largest economic market. We do 5 times more trade with the UK mainland than we do with the Republic of Ireland or the EU. And the thing about it is that although we were experiencing difficulties at the moment, we're only in the first of 3 stages. So the first stage came in there on January the 1st, and that was dealing with meat, fish, food and plant-based products. There's only 2 retailers in Northern Ireland, believe it or not, for spuds. The Mighty Potato. We're well known for spuds and our love for spuds, but there's only 2 wholesalers in Northern Ireland. And believe it or not, there's not enough spuds in Northern Ireland for us all, so they bring them in from England. It normally would be about 6 loads a day that they bring in from England, but the last load was brought in recently, and that was the first in a month. They're now bringing the potatoes for Northern Ireland in from Belgium. Think of the jobs that's lost in Holliers, think of the jobs that's been lost in all the manufacturing and the packaging of those potatoes. And it's not just the potatoes themselves, it's the soil the potatoes come in. The pallets have to be specially heat treated, they have to be packed in a particular way, the lorries have to be washed. I mean, how ridiculous is it that in a country that has traded with the UK mainland for centuries, it's now illegal to bring soil from the UK over to Northern Ireland. It's legal, however, to bring it from France or Poland or Italy, people that we haven't traded with in such numbers over the years. And overnight it becomes illegal to bring in a wooden-handed trowel to here in Northern Ireland. Many of the suppliers in the UK have said it's cheaper for them to ship it to the EU and then drive it to Northern Ireland through the Republic. I mean, how ridiculous is that? In Northern Ireland, we have 2,800 lorries coming in every day on our ferries. At the moment, they're only managing to check 20% of those. And that's causing up to 2,800 certificates being checked a day. And at the moment, we're in the first phase, and it's 1 certificate per lorry. Once the second phase comes in, it's going to be 1 certificate per product, per destination, per lorry. And they reckon that that's going to get up to about 300,000 certificates a year, all checking your food. Apart from anything else, the supermarkets are exempt at the moment. They're not getting their goods checked. And when that happens, you're then going to be having health certificates on poultry, you're going to have them on mincemeat, you're going to have them on cheeses, you're going to have them on all the products. 77% of Northern Ireland businesses say that they are currently having trouble and it's having an effect on their business, and we're only in the first stage of 3, and they postponed the second stage there for the beginning of July under the threat from the EU of legal action. Marks and Spencer's say that they have problems with 380 different items into their 21 stores here in Northern Ireland, and it's costing them 33 million since the protocol came into place on the 1st of January. Apart from anything else, Tesco are now telling their suppliers that they're not going to ship to Northern Ireland, that they have to ship it themselves. And at the very least, B&M have now said that they have to get certificates for their beef and tomato pot noodles. I mean, this is how ridiculous it gets. Listen to these things. They're potatoes, pot noodles, garden trowels. They're all, it's madness. The supermarkets, as I say, they're exempt. They're in their grace period. It was extended. And next January, what is added to that there is medicines and the medical equipment. So it means that we will be completely different in terms of regimes and medicine, so they can bring in cancer treatments in the UK that we won't get here in Northern Ireland. And you've seen that recently in the news as well. So not only are we being treated economically as a different country from the mainland UK, constitutionally, it's even more important. And for those of us who care about our place in the UK, it's equally important as economic issues. We remain in the EU single market. We apply the EU customs rules. We abide by the EU rules on state aid and VAT, even though we're still in the UK VAT area. We have to abide by the EU regulations on food, plant and animal health. And we're under the European Courts of Justice. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound much like we're part of the UK. Where basically they have given us the control of Northern Ireland to a foreign power. We're subject to laws, we have no representation, we didn't make them, we have no say in them, and we can't change them. The 1801 Act of Union, I'm sure you've heard all of the politicians talking about this. It basically gave Northern Ireland the right to the same unfair trade as the rest of the UK. Does those rules that we have to apply because of the NI protocol, do they sound like it? They've basically changed the constitutional status of Northern Ireland. We're now part of the EU without our consent. Did you consent to it? Because I didn't. The Good Friday Agreement was supposed to provide protection for our constitutional status. Everything was meant to be done on a cross-community basis. Again, that has been completely breached. There's no say at all in what happened to our laws and what has happened to our country at the moment. Constitutional changes should be expressly repealed. They should be done openly. Yet the courts or the government's barristers are currently saying that it was done implicitly. In other words, it was done under the covers. Nobody knew about it. Here in Northern Ireland, we didn't get Brexit. And those of them who say that we have to suck it up, this is what we voted for, are completely wrong. We've got the exact opposite of Brexit. We are still in the EU. We are still under control of the EU bureaucrats and their laws. So how does that not affect our status or our place in the United Kingdom? And finally, the NI protocol got pushed through, and you know this as well as I do, with the threat of violence. You had Leo Varadkar, you had Jean-Claude Juncker, you had Sinn Féin, SDLP, Alliance, and even Theresa May saying we can't have any hard border on the island of Ireland. That will breach the Good Friday Agreement. So it's okay to breach the Good Friday Agreement when it comes to the sovereignty, but not when it comes to a border on the frontier. They only abide by the Good Friday Agreement when it suits their agenda. But what you have to remember is we do have a land border. It's not a sea border. The Czechs aren't taking part in the middle of the sea. The Czechs are taking part in Belfast and in Larne. So we have a land border. It's just not where it should be. It sets a dangerous precedent that the threat of violence managed to push this through. And I know that some people are asking, why don't we resort to similar tactics? And the reason being is we're a law-abiding people. We have respect for Her Majesty's laws and for her forces. And apart from anything else, why should you and I and our sons and our daughters end up with criminal records, possibly even convictions, when those who can do something about all of this in power aren't doing it? Our politicians, our MLAs, they should be refusing to implement this NI protocol. They shouldn't be putting these border checkpoints in place. They shouldn't be continuing with the North-South ministerial council meetings whilst our East-West trade is in tatters. They need to stop doing U-turns every day. I mean, in this week alone, Putz has made 2 different U-turns on the Irish Language Act and in North-South ministerial council meetings. So what can we do standing here? We're not powerless. We can lobby our MLAs and we can lobby our politicians and tell them what we want. We don't want the NI protocol. Remember, our votes put them in their positions of powers, and the lack of our votes can also take them out of those positions of powers.
Flags. Right? People say it's all about balaclava. Look at our flag. Right? That's what we want.
We want our flags.
Alright. Yeah.
We can peacefully protest. I know it looks like violence pays, but when we need to stay united, and many within our community feel uncomfortable about violence, and most importantly, we need to be tenacious. Far too often, in various different circumstances, we have let the heart rule the head. When we haven't seen immediate change, we have given up. So it's important that we continue to let people know exactly what we think, and gatherings like this do exactly that. You can see here today, there is strength in numbers, and eventually those numbers and the right will prevail. Thank you very much for having me here for the organisers, and I know there's a few other great speakers coming along. Thank you.